Body, and welcome back to another trek through the dungeon. so, I've been experimenting with a few different things. I did a 15 runer recently enough, and that was fun. And been toying around with some Tengu, and I had a Tengu that was basically a 5 rune ascendant that I threw away at the end. Tengu is interesting because their conjurations and air magic are super high skill. The spellcasting is standard, swiftness is built in, so I just thought, hey, maybe they'd make a better shock storm form since they naturally build to it. And then I got here. Let me pull up a morgue and I'll show you because it's kind of relevant, I guess. What is it called? Tengu. Whichever Tengu. Let's see what pulls up. Oh, I have to. I have to put an exclamation. There you go. Yeah, so this was the one. He's a 5 rune, 6 runer that unfortunately got destroyed by just a little bit of ballsiness that didn't need to happen. But what I noticed is when I hit that end game point, all my spells that I want super powerful, it still didn't feel powerful because Stormform doesn't let you wear enough armor and rings to really scale nicely to make me feel omnipotent. And Necroform does let you wear armors, but then you have to train it much more to be able to cast while wearing all those armors. So the beauty of the thing that started off as a theory craft for me when I was playing my octopus initially of not wearing armor and then having 8 ring slots and then getting the benefits of whatever form you want followed by transitioning into a superpower. Yeah, it's less a theory craft now and rapidly turning into one of my new favorite ways to play the game, which I did not expect. Uh, let's see, how do I do this? Yeah, so 15 runer octopus, 5 runer, a 4 runer, and 5 that died. That's really good track record. And this game is promising to be just as good. I think realizing that the standard recommended openers for an octopus do not work for me really helped. Um, I'm just going to be shooting the breeze with y'all while I play for a while. So you'll notice these are what they recommend. I get why they say Venom Mage because you have a bonus to start with, and it's very strong, and it can induce poison, which is reasonably good, and it comes with Mephitic, which is a good early game spell. Problem is, especially now that they've nerfed all starting backgrounds for spells and removed the level 4, level 5ers, the capstone spells, I guess, or the mid game spells, this leaves you bottlenecked, unable to deal with zombies, skeletons, and a lot of the cold resistant enemies that simultaneously resist poison. And there's quite a few of them. And it's bad because you're forced to multi-branch, but you don't have the tools. And because you're squishy in melee, you have no escape spell built in. Mephitic Cloud is your escape, and it doesn't work. Earth Elementalist is a very nice blaster caster build from the ground up. Removing stone requirements from the game has resulted in you not needing I don't want to say rocks. Yeah, not needing to worry about stones. You can just cast Sandblast infinitely. I question what the point of Stone Arrow is anymore, to be honest. It doesn't do as much damage half the time. And then you step it up from baby Sandblast to mid game Stone Arrow. Then you you either leverage LRD because that's what you have, or you upgrade again to Iron Shots and upgrade again to Lickadib's Crystal Spear. Just chain up. Along the way, you get a strong Earth, and so if you have a strong Earth, you can sidetrack into being a statue. So, Earth is a well put together option, but the only escape it has is Passable. Passable is not that great, in my opinion. Passable can be helpful, but when I need an escape, I need it to work now. Get me out of melee now. Not spend 3 turns in melee so that I can merge with the rock to escape. It's still useful, but it's not the whole package. It's good enough, I guess would be how I would put it. Because again, the octopus early to mid game has 0 to 5 AC, or very little, It can't mitigate hits. Yes, yes, yes. You have some evade, which means you won't get hit as much, which means you can just drain tank and all. But the thing is, the more you rely on that, the worse your streaks will get. Because, yeah, 85% odds sounds good until you roll badly twice. Fire Elementalist is very like Earth Elementalist in that you're just blasting stuff to death with no escape. It does have the bridge to mid game with Fireball. Here's the thing I want you all to take away from what I'm about to say. When you play a roguelike, you need to answer at all stages of the game 2 questions. The first, what do I need now? And the second, what will I need next? And the further away you are from the time you need something, the less you should be focused on it. I need Necromutation to work with this character if I want to go to post endgame and not be tormented, let's say. But I don't have to care about that because in order to get to that point, I'm going to need to get through 3 runes. And in order to get through that, I'm going to need to get through 1 rune. In order to get through that, I need to decide Shoals or Spider. And the more you tunnel vision on, I want to build X class with Y spells, the worse your skilling will be and the worse your willingness to shift will be. I did not want half of the spells that you see in my, sorry, I did not want, where's my, this one? I did not want summoning when I picked it up. I definitely did not want to be all in on I think at some point I memorized a mid-range summoner spell as well. But unfortunately, what I saw was when I had hit my mid-game peak, my mid-game plateau where I knew I was strong enough in the mid-game, this is the only high-level spell I had. So I was like, okay, I need to direct my play in such a way that it will eventually be here. And if I do get something in the meantime that cross values, I will branch into that instead. And then in the end, I did find Spellforge Servitor and Orb Destruction. Again, I was not building a Conjurator. I had 0 Conjuration. I was all Shock and Airstrike, which, by the way, this is why OpAE is my favorite. As long as you can deal with the Gas Guzzler problem, because it takes a lot of MP to spam it, the airstrike smiting killing enemies will get you through dungeon through lair very nicely, and you have swiftness to get out of dodge when things go wrong. Anyway, I digress. Branching towards what you need to branch towards in order to win, and consistently focusing on that question will win you more games in the short, mid, and long term. And also, hello to my YouTubers who have just joined the stream. Howdy and welcome. Yeah, I think one question and this is actually really for those of you who tend to die in the mid game to late game, or get to lair and then find your runs fizzling out. This is the question I ask myself the most often: what do I need to win? Like whenever I'm feeling stable in where I am now, I'm asking myself, what is the end game? What do I need to win? What build am I going to need? What is a sufficient build from here? For example, right now, what do I need to win? I need Spellforge Servitor spamming Orb of Destruction, and that's it. I already have everything else I need. That's enough to win. That's my minimum required. What do I need to get through this? Well, I've got a ranged attack. I've got an AoE spell that can immobilize multiple enemies at once, and I've got a defense option when I want to just Hulk out. So I have sufficient to survive. This right here, spamming airstrikes, feels so good. And do I take him? No, I run away. Come out beyond those bushes. Airstrikes will hurt more. So why Octopus specifically? When you get right down to it, Octopus slots are very similar to every character slots. Every character gets let me do this. Every character gets cloak, helm, gloves, boots, shield, armor. Right, that's 6. Then they get 3 jewelry slots, 2 rings and an amulet. That's 9. And from there, it's just a matter of reductions, not increases. Octopus gets 8 jewelries and 1 amulet. That's 9. They also get a shield, and that's +1. And they actually also get a hat, so +2. So they're technically at 11 slots. The difference then is which of these slots tends to be the most valuable. Now, in my opinion, the most valuable slot is the chest because it gives you the most AC. You can train armor up directly to make it even more valuable along with the rest of the armor pieces. This is actually going to go badly. Let's just blow them up. You can train armor directly to increase the value of all your armor pieces, but it's going to have the greatest effect on the piece that generates the most armor value, which is of course the chest piece. When it comes to utility, oh, that's not a good spot for me. Let's blink once, and let's get out my ally. I'm a little nervous about using up all my mana in the middle of nowhere while poisoned, so that's why I'm just getting an ally involved. Yeah. So the difference then is if you look at what slots can give you, artifacts in any slot can give you anything, can give you many things. That's great. Base wise though, the basic rings of the game give you resistance to fire, resistance to cold, resistance to necro, resistance to corrosion, resistance to will, bonuses to spell casting, bonuses to spell casting, bonuses to hitting things, and bonuses to hitting things. Basically. Oh, and bonuses to spell casting. Amulets give you a wider range of effects I don't want to go into right now. So compare that to armors. The standard armors give you resistance to fire, resistance to cold, resistance to necro, resistance to will, right? But you only get to wear one of those in your body slot. Your standard cloaks, you're not usually going to find anything beyond resistance or stealth. Sorry, poison or stealth. It's unusual to find higher than that values. You do find things like the scarves, which give you more utility options, but that's hit or miss which one you get and all that. Then you get, and it's only one. You can't take a repel missile scarf with a polyresist scarf with a darkness scarf. You can only take one of those. Boots will sometimes give you swiftness. This is a bad spot. This is a good spot. I really don't like what I'm training right now. I think we leave. I think we leave all these guys untouched, and then we come back to another staircase. Hate to lose staircase, but in this situation, I would much rather be fighting them from the edge of screen rather than middle. Let's get my ally up and then just wait. Sorry, mid train of thought interruptions. Just don't want to die. Okay, so now what I've noticed with octopodes is if you just want to be a melee dude, maybe not the best, because without all the passive AC bonus of a gloves, passive AC bonus of any boots, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, no, you are fighting uphill, right? You are more at risk of damage at all times, at the very least, until you find some kind of transmutation to stop being an octopus and start being something else. But a Shocktopus or a dragon. Oh wow, that thing was killing me. It's a good thing I was a dragon. I just blew it up. But then again, you don't have to go melee, dude. You can be a pure caster, and as a pure caster, you're getting all kinds of bonuses to your spell casting. I would never be able to wear +6/+6 intelligence rings on an average character like this because I would need to spare some room for some basic resistance that I was missing that was more important, at least in the short term. Or if I do +6/+6 intelligence, I could never also do wizardry because that's 2 ring slots, right? And wizardry is just not as important in that situation. But being an octopode gives you the ability to run all of those at once. I guess what I'm tiptoeing around and not just saying is, if you want to go partial wizard, partial armor guy, yeah, you can. The octopode is not the ideal option, right? But if you want to go all in on being a badass mage, you can't really do much better than being an octopus because you can stack so much power, and that's before even getting into the. Oh yes, I think we found it. Yes, storm. This is what I've. You guys are about to see me go from being a not Shocktopus to being a Shocktopus, so I picked a good time to stream. Storm form. We can ditch dragon form for sure at this point because there's very few scenarios where I would prefer being a dragon to being a storm kitty. I actually only memorized dragon form because I happened to be in a really bad situation where I descended a staircase and was being bullied by like 5, 6 monsters at once, and it was virtually impossible to escape them. Um, but I think there was all three stairs down were in the same area too. So it was either give up on descending that particular area of the dungeon or worse. Yeah. Anyway. So I memorized dragon form so that I could buff up, go upstairs, beat up one of them, come downstairs, go downstairs, go upstairs, and just keep toggling back and forth, basically. Um, yeah. In any event, let's uh, let's enjoy what we just picked up. Stormform is already loaded, and look at that, 2025 with already better ACEV. That's what it needs. We don't need to hardcore into conjurations and summonings now for the short term, because the short term is going to be the transmutator victory. We already drove air magic super high. Oh yeah, rewind. This is why I love opening air elementalist as an octopus, because you can go full tilt into being an air mage, just get more mana and MP. Get your MP up to 20 so you can blast three or four, uh, 3 or 4 rounds of what's it called? 3 or 4 rounds of airstrikes, and then switch back into running mode or survival mode, and you got all the zaps to get you through the early game, and you're just building the power of air magic over and over and over. I feel like more than fire and ice, air magic really scales well with higher power in every spell, except MCC. Which, by the way, I should pick up MCC at some point too. It's practically free. I'll definitely be able to cast it, and I don't need of these, I don't need shock anymore. I do like Mephitic. I do like Airstrike and Blink and Servitor with Orb of Destruction. I don't need Swiftness, but I should keep it in case I do, and I like Irradiate. So yeah, okay, I like everything here. What am I at, 1 spell level? There's more points of spellcasting this. So yeah, something I've noticed in all of my Null playing, because I've played a ton of Nulls at this point. My best streak is definitely Null based, and I forget if I actually accomplished Greater Null or if it was just something I was shooting towards as I went for Greater Player. Regardless, if I'm not a Greater Null, I'm at least very close to it. In fact, let's try that dot phrase and see what comes up. Looks like I've won with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. At least 25 different kinds of nulls I've won the game with. So there's that. And oh, this is also fun. Did I won in? Yeah, and 12 of those were first time I ever tried that combination. I won with it, so that's pretty sweet. What I've learned by playing all those nulls is having generally good access to spells in the game and being able to cast more or less whatever benefits you at the time vastly increases your odds of success. The more you know what to do with the spells the game gives you, rather than needing the game to give you the spells you know what to do with, the better. Oh, that was a bad miscast. We're going to try to blink bolt to that bush just to get out of the dispersal trap radius. Then we're going to resummon my ally, I guess. How am I miscasting it? What is my odds? 1%. Oh shit, that's actually pretty bad. I don't want contamination to get any worse, so we'll just hold off for now. and just take these guys out the old-fashioned way by cutting them up with my storm claws. Yeah, but the more the less you're reliant on getting the 5 spells you know how to use as a player. I mean, know what to do with, know what makes them tick, know what situations they're good in, and how to maximize their value. The less you're reliant on getting the handful of spells, and rather can extract full value out of everything. You know how to set up an Irinya's Bog so that you can maximize its value. You know how to set up a uh, you know how when ignite poison is worth using with poison needles versus when it's good enough to just drop a mephitic cloud and ignite that. So in short, because you have this, because you understand the spell, just seeing it as available already, you're considering half of what you can do with it, rather than not realizing that you could have done X, Y, Z. And the same applies with everything. It applies with consumables. Applies with your build. Oh, that's Isuliu. Ilswile? It's that girl. I think we can still claw her apart. And she cannot hard end me, so that's good. Yeah, so what this means then is, as a null player, one, you're encouraged to learn all these spells, or at least a wide variety of them, because hey, you can memorize anyone you like, right? As a Jin player, it's very similar. You're just training spellcasting, so and you're forced to use a small subset of the game's spells, so you better learn to extract maximal value out of all of them. And what I've learned is maybe half the spells in the game or a quarter of the spells in the game are useless and the rest are good, except that's not true. That's just what it feels like, and the more spells you learn, the more you realize that the more spells are actually good. I don't think Nicola can swim, or fly, I should say, which means I don't think he can actually reach me if I go into the deep ocean. Further, I don't think that he can reach me. I don't think he can swim, which means if I can confuse him, I can probably drown him. Is there a better way? Keep him at the edge of line of sight, but definitely draw him in. Edge of line of sight, but draw him in. Edge of line. I do resist electricity. I'm a being of pure electricity right now. This is about as good as it's gonna get. Is he over the water? That's shallow water. Okay, good. So yeah, so he is now trapped in here with me. Just a matter of time before he dies. Okay, now it's just a matter of time before I die, so I have to back off and heal up, which means he gets a reset, and so do I. No problem. This is how I like engaging him. Total safety. This is not how I like engaging him. Total risk. Why don't you go ahead and soften him up while I wait? He seems smart enough to not get himself drowned easily. Oh, is that his stuff? Yeah, we did it. Sweet. So once you have crossed the knowledge hurdle of realizing spells are good that you wouldn't otherwise think are good, but they are good, the next issue becomes the skill points hurdle. Let's say that you're playing a human, or not a human Spasm. Let's say that you're playing a troll with negative aptitudes to. No, troll's bad because nobody spellcasts with a troll. Well, let's pretend, right? Let's pretend that you're trying to make a troll spellcaster. You have such negative aptitudes to everything magic and such low starting intelligence that you are almost certainly not going to be able to just cast any spells you get. You need to properly figure out what 1 or 2 spells you intend to rely on for the game and stick to just those. because you're not going to get more than 3 or 4 at most, or sorry, 2 or 3 at most skill schools in a 3-room time frame up and running. And after a 3-room time frame, it kind of stops mattering, right? Eventually, you get infinity XP from ziggurats, pandemonium, whatever, and become a master of everything. That's not the point. The point is before that. So what's really cool about an octopus? There's a few races that get to experiment with every spell they come across relatively easily. The gnoll will have equal training at everything, which means it's going to get level 6 and 7 spells worth of casting online pretty regularly with no god help in a 3-room run. And once it has that, nothing stops you from mixing and matching spell stuffs to make exactly whatever you feel like at the time. So it's a really great power spike in that sense. This is a bit of a risk, but I do feel like I'm going to risk it. I feel pretty confident that I can take Roxanne out in a timely fashion. I'm at 178. Roxanne is toast. Oh, Shatter and Statue Form. Okay, this is a really good example of what I was just about to get to in my casual comments. So as a gnoll, if you are leveling up and playing the game, you will eventually be just as likely to cast Shatter as you will Polar Vortex. Earth and air, ice and water, doesn't matter. You can do whatever you like. Which means if the best spell you had up until Lair was Scorch, because that's what the dungeon gave you, and then you see that for your level 4 spell, the dungeon is offering you Airstrike, you don't even have to think about it. You can say, great, I'm equally skilled at Scorching and Airstriking, so I'm just going to memorize Airstrike and use that as my next step up for when it's necessary. Or if you've been relying on Frozen Ramparts with the side of Ozo's armor to like do your and freeze to get through, and you got your ice magic going, and then the next spell you get is Ironya's Bog, and you're like, okay, well, this requires transmutations, poison, and fire, so I can't cast it. Wrong. I'm a gnoll. I can cast it just as well. So you can effortlessly flip between the two, which means that if there's even a small statistical advantage, small situational advantage, or grindable advantage to being one on one spell or the other, you can have that advantage every time as long as you have the spell slots or the amnesia scrolls for it, which I should point out you regularly do. Other races get to enjoy a similar level of fun, right? With the Jinn, as I've alluded to, you can have 5 disparate spell schools, 10 disparate spell schools worth of spells. If that's what the game gives you and you've worked on spellcasting, you'll be good at all of them. And thanks to blood magic, you'll have the MPHP to cast it. To a lesser degree, you also get a similar effect with Tengu and Deep Elves, because their general purpose magic aptitudes for conjuration, summoning, in the case of, and air magic in the case of a Tengu, or just general elemental schools and core spellcasting in the case of a Deep Elf, are so good that you can very easily hit a point where you're well trained in core spellcasting and don't have to work quite as hard to branch out beyond that. But the price you pay for that was of course, super frailty and a lot of negative aptitudes and defensive abilities or what have you as well. Reduce slots, that kind of thing. Now let's go back to the point that started all this, the octopus. The octopode has 0 aptitudes across the board. It means it's bad at nothing. And it gets intelligence numbers that most characters can only dream of through its heavy-duty ability to optimize its basic ringery. You'll notice I have one really sexy amulet up here, but otherwise I'm using basic rings only. In fact, I don't think I've found a whole lot of artifact jewelry in this dungeon. Oh yeah, I found competition for my one good slot. Thank you very much. So point I'm trying to drive at is that thing that I've learned to love of using whatever spells are best and throwing 5, 10 skill school points into a skill school just to get something online that could give me an advantage, right? Thinking ahead, not in terms of I can only afford to get one thing for the whole game, so what's it going to be, but rather in terms of I can get 2 or 3 things going. What's it going to be? So much fun, and it's something you get to do for free with a octopus because look, statue form, level 6 spell, 14% castable with a 0 in earth magic. 0. 9 in transmutations, 12 in spellcasting. That's so wonderful. I don't even. It literally is like saying, hey, here's the deal. You don't have to use this right now because you have your own system and you're not on the statue plan. Welcome to my Twitch viewers as well. You're not on the whatchamacallit plan. You're on the Stormform plan. And that's all well and good, but let's say I'm in a situation where I specifically want Stormform, just for one encounter or two. Nothing stops me from memorizing it and moving on. The only thing that limits is spell slots. And guess what? Air Elementalist is a gas guzzler. It's a greedy, mana inefficient battery of attacks. You need 3 casts of airstrike to reliably kill most of everything that you'll face in early to mid dungeon, right? Like that, 1, 2, 3. So yes, boosting spell power by focusing on air school is great, but if you're not getting your MP up to 20 or 30, you're gonna find yourself getting depleted on one enemy, like I just did here, 20 MP on one enemy, and not being ready for the second enemy, right? So inevitably, I find that I spend some early game energy getting spellcasting going, whereas for an average character, I wouldn't necessarily do that. Further, because I'm able to tunnel vision so hard, I'm not going to train armor, which is normally a huge training sink for me. I'm not going to train much in the way of dodging, just some, a little on the side. Fighting, I will train some, but not much, a little on the side. So the focus training on Air Elementalist gets my air magic with pre-layer up to 15 to 20. And when that happens, if I found out how I'm branching from airstrike already, if the game has given me reliable, good options to aim for, then okay, I have something to switch to. If not, and typically a bit before that, I just put it in spellcasting because it generically makes me a better spellcaster, whichever direction I choose to take in the future. Which, incidentally, at this point, I should really be considering. I already have Spellforce Servitor down to 10%, which is really good. Let's throw one more level into summoning and be done with it. And do we want? I think that, and then we'll let spellcasting go on untouched. Okay. So yeah, what used to be I have to be a Shocktopus because it's the only thing I'm doing for, and it's the only thing I understand, it's the only thing I know how to do in this build, has now become, I like being an Air Elementalist just for being an Air Elementalist, frankly. And again, that's an early game decision. That is how am I going to get through the dungeon, how am I going to reach the lair decision. It is not a what am I going to do for the rest of my game decision. If you insist on knowing before you get your first 5 or 10 new spells what your last spell is going to be and start training for it, you're going to lose a lot of winnable runs because you're not adaptable. You're not adapting and you're not adaptable. So a lot of things that could have been won, you're going to lose. But yeah, what now, baby? Good. You might think that for all my big talk, I'm actually being very cowardly and just hugging the stairs like this, but Volt ending branches are so dangerous. not volt ending, mini volt ending? Branch ending areas are so dangerous, it pays to not step out too far and then have to use a blink scroll and then not have one extra blink scroll for later. Besides, I don't lose anything by being cautious, just turn count, and I was never worried about that anyway. Now we're trying to get surrounded. Let's get out of here and just take out what's left. Oh, you are scary, actually. Let's blow you up. There's something else here? Oh, siren. Get out of the tear. Okie dokie. Bad baby, bad. I'm in range of 4 awake spheres at once. Let's just leave. This is survivable. I don't repel missiles, do I? I do repel missiles. I don't dodge well, though, so I should be very cautious how long I stay here. I think I airstrike until I've run out of airstrikes, and then I leave. I run out of HP, and then I leave. Oh, that's it. Ran out of HP. One hit. That's all it took. I mean, EV-25 is not bad by any stretch, but it's also not great. What I could do is pound them, but then I'm committed. Oh, you know what I should do is with them. Then they can't, with impunity, just go to town on me. Okay, now you guys are all in my area, so now I can just pounce on you. You're confused. Okay, good. Again, you see how nice that is to be right on the staircase, so if anything goes south, it's a short walk away. Yeah, so because you're able to get your intelligence so high, you're able to very easily multi-class, branch out, try new things, try different schools. Because your initial build is an OpAE, is Airstrike, which is resisted by nothing level 4 smite targeted, with heavy bonuses for good positioning, you can theoretically get through the entire early game. You have a tool that will win you every fight, as long as you use it correctly and have enough mana to get through it. You don't really start facing enemies that are too big for that until past D12. Well, it would be 11, I'd say. Except, of course, when the game decides to give you a whole pack of Death Yaks for no good reason. And again, that's what consumables are for, right? To win those fights that you can't win yet, straight up. You will be able to win later. And as the early game develops, never hesitate to look at what it's offered you and decide, you know what? It's all well and good to be an air elementalist, but maybe I should multi-class into this right now. Because that happens a lot. Where, for example, let's say that you're an air elementalist, and on D1 or 2, let's say D2, you come across a Book of Fire. Well, your core damage is being done by zaps. Zaps cover most everything that Foxfire does, so there's not necessarily a huge incentive to add more on top, right? Like, why not just stick to what you already got? But then you get a little bit further in, and you're like, what about Scorch? Scorch could hit certain enemies harder than Zap will, right? But not as hard as, and not cost as much as Airstrike. So if I'm not ready for one yet, maybe I can do the other. And in that fashion, you can like decide whether or not to pick up one of those spells temporarily with a slight branch in that direction instead of going whole hog every single time. That kind of flexibility is a lot of value. One moment, I'm getting sidetracked here before I can jump back into my thing. Okay. Dig deep. It looks like we've managed to decompress this right half of the floor. So there's a very good chance that I don't have to be this afraid anymore, but they say better safe than dead, right? I should probably turn on fighting. Again, it's it's time for some generic safety, and that's a good generic ability that's always going to pay off. The one thing that you can never have much of is health. You can only ever have too little. Pounce zap. All right, it looks like this floor, if not completely cleared, is certainly mostly cleared at this stage, so good. Yeah, so other things that octopodes have going for them that make them so fun. Every race brings its own pros and cons to the dungeon, obviously, right? Uh, the swimming ability of an octopode is an initial ability for sure. It functions as a tantamount to flight because the areas that would normally be restricted to a non-flying creature that are available to a swimming octopode, right? Actually, no, that's a terrible plan. I'm not doing shields until I'm no longer doing transmutations. Dodging is more useful. Yeah, I'm not scared of this. You guys just don't hit me too hard while I hit you back. Build out too. Alright, what is this? Oh my god, what is with this game and giving me amazing amulets today? Reflect, Will plus, Shield, and Strength plus versus MP plus and Slay plus. You could certainly make the argument that that's the better option. I think it is the better option because my will is not that strong yet, and I can prove that. I could have swapped in magical power instead of will. Instead, I chose to wear will. Therefore, clearly, I'm working on my will. My will. So let's ditch a wand of flame. There's no scenario in which I'm going to be eager to use that. Switch this over. Bonus strength doesn't do anything for me, but the will surely does. Extra spell casting has already started to pay dividends on my spell force servitor casting. If and when I'm able to. Yeah, as much as I've called this list Shocktopus because that's what it opened with, and that's and because it's the most fun one conceptually and blah blah blah. It's for the early to mid game and even mid to late mid game. Very very much a strong form. I would say that statue form, dragon form, and storm form all have their place, and they're all quite good. I don't feel like any one of them is particularly bad. I would say that of the three, the dragon form is the one that's the most below the curve. Oh crap! The exact thing I was worried about happened. How hard can you hit? Can I heal wounds out of it? Immune, 37 damage plus 16 extra damage. So I need to heal, but if I heal, I might just be able to heal out of range. So let's just do that. But now he's confused, so now he's not a threat. His blast should finish this quite nicely. I was going to use a blink scroll until I mathed how much life it would take to not die, and that's what sealed my decision in the end. Oh yes, condenser vein. Always love adding those guys to my arsenal. Without training, they pretty much will always be poison clouds. I've very rarely seen them do better without training. With training, they can become much better, obviously. Let's ditch the Ring of Magical Power. At this stage, I have enough MP by a margin. Summon Cactus Giant. Summon Forest is worth considering. Summon Forest is a hugely valuable defensive and space controlling tool, and I don't have a lot of that in my current layout. Like, for example, right here, I could summon a forest to prevent them from reaching me with their weaponry. And then, yeah, I could do that. and then just airstrike them from range. Or, blink bolt into them and motorize them. Which is really what I'm trying to do right now. I'm just picking them off until I'm ready. Okay, they got him. And never forget when you're excited to be an octopus excited to be a Shocktopus, you are still a mage. You're still allowed to do mage things and fight like a mage. You don't have to fight like a melee berserker. You haven't dedicated all your time and energy into being one. You're not one. Don't act like one. Okay. Your Asfnui weaponry here is quite tempting. Looking at my options, I have an RC plus option, and that's it. This is a strictly inferior option I'm never going to use when I have a blink-capable weapon. But this one, I could very well see myself whipping on in an ice cave or something similar. So we're going to keep that in my inventory. Ooh, not a good spot, not a good spot, not a good spot. It's not sweet or anything, but it's still quite a lot of power directed right at me. So we're going to back off and let my confusion and my ally finish this fight for me. 7 space bonus, that's good enough to kill. 7 space bonus, good enough to kill. 4 space bonus, I'll wait a turn. Nope, good enough to kill. Alright, let's get out of range of these pelters, shall we? And where's the exit? There, head to the exit. But yeah, so often what'll happen in early to mid dungeon or in a Bailey or something is there'll be a nifty little water fountain or like 3 tiles of deep water somewhere, just as a decoration almost, rather than a serious tactical piece. Or sometimes it is like, you have to cross this small shallow pond in order to reach action. But what you can do so often as a Shocktopus or even just your octopus form in the early game is swim into that deep water and then just hug it and rely on your zaps from range, your airstrikes to kill everything as it approaches and as it retreats. Oh my god, how many things am I gonna pack out a day? I could blink bolt right into them and probably take them out, but I'm not going to. Instead, I'm going to stay back here and definitely not die. Blink bolt into there, you waste a blink scroll getting out again. This is not me playing the funsies exciting way. This is me playing carefully. I'm going to step into the mass and irradiate it. I think that's reasonable. We'll just claw it up from here. Irradiate and claw it up. Rely on gold aura to keep them suppressed. Throw off the walls, so airstrike times 3 should be the death of you, and off we go. Yep, mighty fine shindig. We still didn't find the rune yet. My god. This is why I can't play Meteorans, man. Meteorans force you to play fast and loose. They force you to make every step count, and it's not something I like to do. If I liked step counts like that, then I'd go for high scores, and I don't. Okay, we good here? Pounce the mermaid, blow it up, load it up, load it up, load it up, load it up. All right, we're done. Shoal's rune acquired, and we made it look easy. Actually, look at that bookshop real quick. I'm very curious if I left some good stuff on the ground that I need to be thinking about. No. Refrigeration is very much worth thinking about. How am I 90% to refrigeration? That's a pure ice spell, and I have 0 ice magic. It's level 7 ice spell, and I have no training. Oh, right, because I have 52 freaking intelligence. 40 when I'm in form, and 52 when I'm not, which is just, look at this number, my god. You can take, that's the glory, right? I'm not a summoning translocator or whatever, but I've got horrible things at 28%. If I start working on Shatter now, I can have Shatter up and rolling before I hit Zon, for sure. Actually, I think I just convinced myself. See, I have this demon trident of +9 intelligence and this ordinary falchion of +4, so that's a significant incentive to stay in octopode form. And how does statue form work? La 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 la. That's not what I mean. I want statue form. Statue form grants 17 plus power over 10 AC plus 30% HP. Melts gloves, boots, bardings, and body armor. Okay. Gloves, boots, bardings, and body armor. Keep that. I don't get a refund on cloak or shield. So actually, for me, it kind of fits like a glove. 17 plus power over 10 AC plus 30% HP makes you take 50% more time to take any action with the slow spell. Melts gloves, boots, bardings, and body armor. Provides R like RN, 50% R Torm, R Rot, poison immunity plus 12 plus armor, skill, arm combat, and 20% bonus on all melee. Gargoyles can't cast the spell. That seems really good. Yeah, I mean, like I had said, they're storm form, statue form. They're all really good. Oh, there's GDR involved too. I guess the thing to do would be thinking hard. I like this. I like using statue form as a bridge to shatter. Um, it looks like I would be casting it at 46% power already, which means that its AC bonus would be at least comparable to what I'm getting here at 21 over 26. And more importantly, I can use it with my trident to have 52 intelligence for casting the rest of my spell list, so I can get even more bonuses. Yeah, exactly, Yale guy. That's kind of exactly what I was thinking. I'm just so glad I only just saw your comment. I apologize for not bringing it up further, but yeah, I think this is the direction of play for sure. And looks like you thought of it well before. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Don't get me wrong. I don't need this trident, and I don't need the 9 intelligence. I can make do without it. I can cry myself to sleep on the 40 intelligence I already have, right? But consider the following: you guys just saw me clear all of Shoals as a storm form and melee things like 6 times at most, because I'm mostly playing this like a caster who just happens to have all these bonus reductions in strengths. What's next? Spider Nest. Yeah, Spider Nest is a great example. Spider Nest, the problem with statue form is the slow. If you're casting spells as a statue, you're taking a full reduction of speed. Meleeing things as a statue, you can get your speed of attacks down low enough that the slowdown doesn't matter. But casting spells, I wonder if it's just a bad call. And this, gents, is why we play the game, to learn whether that's true or not. I don't want to unmemorize storm form, so what I'm going to do is not pick up statue form until I have the spell levels for it. So we'll do this, this, but put a cap of 15, and then we'll go for it. Okay. Spider Nest, do we see invisible? Check. Do we have reasonable will? Check. Okay, that's great. Shields, the dungeon has given me no real upgrade. And I honestly, I mean, at this point, I don't have a lot of other things I need to be doing, so let's just go for it. Storm form and in. Look at this. It wasn't Irinia's bog, was it? No, it was forest that I was summoned forest that I was considering picking up. These hallways are a little bit tight for forests, I think. Oh no, forest converts the walls to trees, right? Hang on, what does it do? Summon forest. Nearby rock walls into trees, yeah. So maybe I am better off getting forest for this, because Lord knows there's enough tight hallways here. Would be a good safety. I think I just convinced myself. I haven't left a lot of amnesia on the floor. Let's wait and see if another. Oh, there's the next amnesia scroll. Game, are you trying to tell me something? Recast Stormform. Do not want it to expire mid combat. What are you, Grisivora? Just blast you all with Irradiate. Yeah, I think the game's trying to tell me something. Let's go for it. Where's Forest? Summon Forest. Okay, have enough levels. Just do it now. The way I see it, Summon Forest is the kind of thing that is going to make all my encounters more survivable, much like having an ally to hide behind. Or, oh, you need more space. More open space. Okay, so there needs to be a certain minimum number of open tiles. Is this enough space? Yes. Okay, so you don't need a ton of space. You just need some. I used to do more summoning forest then I transitioned into doing more in Irinia's bog, and now it's just whatever the game is. That's the thing. Now genuinely is whatever the game gives me that I can make good use of. Why would I go for something else? Coming in demanding that the game give you this only thing, yeah, that's fine for funsies and memes, but it's not great winning strategy, except maybe when you're going for like ziggurats and post endgame where the game's going to give you everything, so get exactly what you want. Alrighty. Maxwell's capacitive coupling is an ability that I'd like to have, but don't need to have. It's a great unique killer, which is a cool thing to have in my arsenal, or just for a heavy hitter. I don't have great, but the thing is, I have order destruction, yeah, so I do have good, actually, sustainable single target damage. Just pop my ally down and let him go across missile massacre on my enemies. Kill him, thank you. Oh wow, that was a bad jump, and I do resist cold to 1 pip though, so that's great. Let's just get out of here. No forest, obviously. What are you even trying to hit? I'm not gonna hit anything. Alright, let's get out of here. Get my ally online. There we go. Got our forest back up, so now we can just safely tank behind allies, get more allies in the mix, and just dominate the scene, please. Okay. Thrashy washy. Seriously, you can die too. How's that statue form coming? 7%. Very good. Are we still on Earth, by the way? Yeah, okay, good. So I'm very curious what's going to happen when Earth hits, let's say, 4%. Not to the statue form, but I'm curious what's going to happen to Shatter. Because if Shatter is already starting to show signs of being castable, then we may as well beeline on Shatter and just plan to use that to win the game as a statue. I mean, just picture this statue form, right? Shatter, shatter, bail. Shatter, shatter, bail. Alright. I would love to shatter right here. Just take everything out and move on. Bail. Okay, 6%. Because I can. Okay. Come upstairs, guys. One irradiate to soften you up, and then with your AC down, you can just die. All we have left for you is untimely death. That's one way to dodge an orb of destruction. Blink Bolt past it and kill the caster. So I hear that they've added a new spell to Trunk that is basically the Blink Bolt portion of Stormform. I gotta say, that is super fun. I think half the reason I enjoy being the Stormform is the Blink Bolt thing. So yeah, very cool. All right, with my full intelligence coming to bear, Shatter is still 100%. Okay, so I'm not gonna get Shatter just by going to like level 10 Earth Magic. That's wishful thinking. Got it. I'm happy I could wish it, but I accept that it's not a reality. I'm gonna have to go at it the old-fashioned way. Skills and hard work and elbow grease. Snipe. The other thing to do would be to summon a jewelry shop at some point, because I have 0 artifact rings. Imagine that. All of this massive intelligence, wizardry bonus, no intelligence rings. Honestly, another reason to consider doing statue form is just the resistances it would give could potentially be valuable. I don't resist necro, I don't resist electricity. One eye jars. Okay. How are we on mappings? I would really want to get to the ice cave. But we're not going from this staircase, so forget that. Let's go to another one. Forest, maybe? And then ally, and then we'll just start cutting things. Yeah, this is the right way to go. Brood Mother is being a pain. Brood Mother is dead. Forest is deactivated, presumably because the Dryad went and got itself killed. Okay, with this much murder, it's kind of sad that there's even a possibility that that I'm not coming out ahead. Because think about a runner that didn't have my level of power trying to clear this stuff. Oh my god, seriously? Alright, I'm gonna kill my own Dryad just to kill these guys and get them off me. There's like a Pharaoh Ant or something that's turning everything into Simulacra. I stood my ground really well on that staircase for a very long time, but I'm not willing to keep pushing that battle. Now's the time to figure out where the actual entrance is and decide if I can make it there, because I've already triple dipped. It's the opposite end, closest to where I just was. I've drawn a lot of fire in that area, so let me try going around. I'm not going to Blink Bolt right now. I want to keep my Blink Bolt for getting past a tricky situation. Like a Rad Roach. Okay, what is that? I don't even know what that is. Energy Bolt, Sticky Flame at range. Oof. None of those seem good. I'm slowed because of the Torpor Snail, and I don't have fog in this game. I think I fear everything on the screen. Just to buy myself some room. Drop an ally, since I'm clearly not going to be able to do this without that. Whoa, what the hell was that? I just took a massive amount of damage, and I don't even know what did it, and I'm almost dead. The Pharaoh Ant bites you and attacks you as you move away, so I got double struck. That's what happened. Since I'm trying to get myself killed, apparently, I'm going to blink all the way away. Heal up immediately. Blink again. This is a super big waste of consumables. Oh, man. I'm not willing to blink 3 times. Where's my butterflies? Drop the butterflies, I'll slow them down. Do I resist cold? At least 1 tier. Good. Walk right past this dragon. Okay. Got hell to come back to when I leave here, but until then, I'm safe. Now, what do I do? That was a huge waste of blink scrolls. I really should have played that better so that I would not have needed to use that many blink scrolls. All right, you guys just take these guys out for me, please. Seriously, whatever it is was strong enough to kill my guy. Bite for 20 to deal up to 42 extra cold damage if any damage dealt. Claw for up to 12. So this can kill me in one hit, potentially. So I guess I will irradiate, kill it. Yep. And this can also kill me in one hit, so I guess we irradiate, kill it. Yep. Irradiate, kill it. I don't care if I get mutated. Okay. That was terrible. That was terrible. I am ecstatic that we didn't die. All right, now that we're in. So let's see what else we can do. Now might be a good time to pick up the statue form. We can get rid of nothing. I forgot I had swiftness during that whole merry chase. Maybe I could have swiftnessed at some point if I had just stopped playing so quickly. I only have one tier of resist cold. I can do better than that. This war axe will give me all maxed out. That might be worth it. I lose int plus 9. I can deal with that. There we go. And if I change forms, I of course lose it. Statue form give you resist cold? I don't think it does. Take a look. I think it's Lich form that does that. Elec, Necro, Rot, Torment. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Really need some decent artifacts. Okay. All of these are dragons, so that's really bad for me because dragons hit hard. I tried really hard to get a forest out and it did not work. I'm gonna back up but not run for it, and we're gonna look at what we can do. Airstrike is pretty much the best I have available to me. Let's target the back line. Is there a fire spell that would help me here that in my inventory? No. Okay. Would have been nice, but take what you can get. I think I probably just go Storm Kitty to kill them all, but then I'm doing it with one tier of resist ice. Are they confusable? That would be interesting to know. Yeah, the Draconians are confusable. That's interesting to know. Let's do this to potentially stall them. There we go. And that for the killing blows. That worked very nicely. And then we'll get the forest up. I will go Storm Kitty, and that's how we win. Alright, it's considered an aggro spell. Okay, good. Good. Spellcasting, Earth, and fighting. I want fighting to cap out at this point. We'll just focus on the good stuff. And we don't need to focus spellcasting. It'll come up as it comes up. Looks like I'm going to have enough for statue form with my next level up, probably. Okay. How do we deal with the orange crystal statue? What can it do to me? It's not going to be able to confuse me. It can brain feed. And that's about it. Draining gaze. So, yeah. Nasty, but not the end of the world. Also, I'll bet you there's another one right here. There isn't. Interesting. And then from this position, I would just do this. Cross Missile Massacre and kills it. Okay. If I need max RC, I stay in this form. If I don't, then I switch. Simple. Now we've got a forest going. I'm maxed on resist, which is what I need to be. Let's put down a confused cloud. Just generally let my ally day. Trees beat the guy up on his way out. Dryad gets itself killed, as is tradition. And Spell for Servitor wins the day. Okay, we're doing good. Question to everyone in chat. Does a summon kill still take half the EXP away from you? Because I read somewhere that was like under consideration for changing, and I don't know if it actually changed in the end or not. My understanding is that using summons to kill things basically slows down your EXP gain, and that's not the end of the world or anything. It's not as big a deal as you might think, but it is still something to consider. Yeah, minus cast on leather armor is pretty much anathema. There is a non-zero chance of my actually using this someday, so I should take it out with me if possible. And you can ditch vulnerability. I'm not saying it's invaluable. I'm just saying I don't. That's vulnerability is a consumable that I don't think of its value. I'm not saying I don't understand that it has value or know of situations it can be useful in, but at least the way I tend to play my characters, I never used. Maybe I have once used vulnerability. Okay, what do we got? Posse of Colds. Not enough space for foresting. And my first set of artifact rings. I am so glad I went into this ice cave. Let's just not die in it, shall we? I'm going to end my transformation right now. I'm doing no good as a... It does me no good, and I'd rather be resistant to cold for the moment. Okay, we can summon a forest here, so this is a great place to make a stand. If I can summon a forest here, it's a great place to make a stand. Come on, you dragon seriously gave up that easily? Oh my god. There you go, that's the spirit. Come on. Come on, baby, come on. Airstrike, finish. Airstrike, finish. Airstrike, finish. What else you got? 1v1 airstrike. So good. Okay, backing up, dropping the ally and bailing. Very much staying as a octopus for the RC triple. And they must have some kind of programming to not cross the river. Maybe they can't fly, and so they're bound by the river. That would explain how come they, quote, couldn't find me. All right, well, that actually gives me a stunning advantage here that I can choose the time of my engagement and disengagement with relative impunity. Yeah, you can hit me once, that's fine. Just don't hit me again. Finish him, please. All right. If you can't finish him, you can't finish him. But he's so close. Just blast him. He's invisible. You have no allies that can see it. He went invisible. That's what happened. Okay. Well, next time I'll be the one to blast him, and then it won't be a problem. You go ahead and blast until he goes invisible. Or period. I'll blast him next time. I do not want this transformation. I don't know why I did that. Okay, maybe we did kill one of them and I just didn't pay attention. Time to loot the ice cave. Nope, we didn't kill one of them. He's still there. Muggin. There you go. It's been a little bit more aggressive. Saves a lot of energy. We still haven't necessarily taken out the strongest enemies that we could potentially find here, so I need to be at least a little bit cautious. Okay, let's start looting. First artifact of the day. Yay! I did not know this. Okay, so that means that in exchange for the fact that summons are no longer very good in terms of attacking outside LOS, infinitely summonable, blah, 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 they at least don't rob you. They're more like bullets than they've ever been. We're gonna ditch the sling. In any situation I would use the sling, I'd rather use the axe, since I'm only using it for resistances. What else can we ditch here? Brand weapon, because clearly I don't need weapon brand. Well, I might need it for a treasure trove, so I'll hang on to that temporarily. Ditto for enchant weapons. Should have left those before I came in. Should have left those in a pile a long time ago. I can ditch attraction. There are circumstances where attraction is good, but they're few and far between. I'm not likely to need one. Certainly not likely to miss it. Immense fans. Okay, good. So let's pick up the rest of these rings. Fly. What? Will and int on a same ring with no downside? Stealth is not a downside to me. That's just so good. It's so good. Well, let's replace our existing will ring with this one, maybe? Or we could go all out and replace our magic power with it. Yeah, let's try that and see what it looks like. Straight up RF ring, that's nice. Let's see how excited I'm not. Oh yeah, this is the other ring. Oh, an RF ring with a downside. Okay. Let's make room. Stack a boomerang and go. In any situation that I'm boomeranging, I should probably be summoning for potions so that I can get my magic back. It's contaminated, which to my knowledge means that it doesn't have a downside until you take it off. So if you take it on, you're semi-permanently giving up a slot till you have the cancellations. Thing is, a tier of RF and RN is almost always going to be valuable to me. Like here, let's go back to wielding the Demon Trident. In Storm form, I need RF and RN for sure. Outside of Storm form, I need RF and RN still. So yeah, this is an easy place. The only question is what to replace. I would say temporarily, tentatively, I would say the Ring of Slaying, since I'm not doing as much milling as I used to. Ring of Wizard, it doesn't matter. Whatever I place, I can just put back. Yeah, that's true. So let's ditch the will ring for now and make do with 3 pips of will, which is kind of my benchmark for good. Now 1%, which is great. Chatter has not budged. That's concerning. I really thought it would have been better by now. Okay, good to know. And where are we on stat form? Stat form is perfect. Yeah, so shockingly, 59 intelligence. Yeah, this ice cave paid for itself, man. 59 intelligence is very good. I probably don't actually need wizardry now that I really think about it. Let me see. If I take off wizardry, or Spellforge goes to a 4%. That's the only thing that isn't perfect. Obviously, my spells here become a little worse, but until I memorize them, they're pointless anyway. So yeah, let's do that. Let's ditch wizardry in favor of keeping my MP topped off or keeping my will high. Either or. Do I resist poison? I don't resist poison. Ooh, I don't resist poison outside of forms right now. That is very good to know. I did not know that. Can't go to the spider pit without resisting poison. Nope, no siree, Bob. I mean, you can. I've cleared it before, but it's not ideal. So this probably is correct. As soon as I'm out of the cave, obviously. Yeah. While I'm in the cave, resist cold is perhaps more important than resist poison. That's the smidge. I think this is a decently strong configuration. I'm not saying it's optimal. Gale guy, you're not wrong, but at the same time, the usual mantra is you can't have you're not going to get level 9 spells in a 3 rune run, which is not unreasonable. It's a good mantra, etc. But the problem is, eventually you play enough and you realize if you're focused on just a couple spell schools and you or you know by the mid game that here's my phrasing. If I get 0 skill points from now till Zod, I should still be able to win the game with just what I've got. I have an Orb of Destruction swinging Spellforge Servitor, with blocking forests, Stormform, and Irradiate, I have over 100 hit points, and I've got 1 pip of resistance and everything. That is enough to win the game, especially if you're careful. But that means that I could devote all my remaining EXP to Earth Magic with no downside. And at that point, you would get Shadow running in the span of a 3 run, or by the end of a 3 run. So it's not that I'm underestimating how hard it is to get it up and running. It's just that it would have been nifty to have it up and running now with no training. Obviously, it's not doable. What is doable is putting on double or triple wizardry, though, to make it happen. But that's getting stupid. Can we forest you? Can we forest you? Can we forest you? Yes. And what is my attack delay? 1.3 with 4 tentacles to constrict. What else could I do? I need to think about what I would do if I wasn't going into a form. I could irradiate, I could airstrike, or I could OOD at melee range. Let's try that one. Meleeing actually is still very good, even with a trident. Okay, so I guess we're done here. Now, I need to remember what my situation was before I came in, and unfortunately, they don't let you do that. The way they do it before. If I recall correctly, I was being chased by a mob. There was a dragon in melee. It was a cold dragon. And that was roughly my situation. Which means I should, at the risk of my own hubris, I do want to keep as much magical reserve as I can, because running out of magic is a very real concern in this situation. I do want the Ring of Cold in case I was correct about it being an ice dragon that I didn't kill. I don't think corrosion is as critical just yet, so we'll ditch this for corrosion. We can definitely go into storm form, or we can go as is. I think storm form, because I can always drop out of it. I can't as easily enter it. That and that. And this is as good a spot as any to make a stand. Kill them. Right. Higher focus on earth magic, please. I want, when statue form comes online, I want it to have a very solid power level. What can I use to hit all of these guys at once? Denser Vein. It'll be a poison cloud, and it'll kill most of them. Oh man, I love it when I'm right. No point worrying about the forest just yet. Can't see the forest or the trees. I am slowed because of what? Because of the slug. These guys are all heavy poisoned, so I can accept the Pharaoh, so I can afford to back up now. I can afford to back up now and take them as they come. What is my odds of hitting a Pharaoh Ant? I don't know what a Pharaoh Ant is. It makes Simulacra out of everything that dies and is immune to poison. It's fast, can bite for 43, 12% to evade. Yeah, so it's going to get hit if I hit it with giant stormy tentacles. It's dead. Okay, what are you? You're also new. Dang, they really redid this branch. 3d 23 damage. That's pretty bad. So that's 2 hits to kill me. So, are you confusable? No, I didn't. I tried to hit X first. I guess I mistyped. You are confusable, so we'll confuse you, or at least attempt to do so. In the meantime, I think it's worth zapping or something to hit that broodmother through all of this. I just tentacle zap you. Good. That broodmother is no longer visible. That's another rad roach. At least 4 empty spaces, so we'll kill it with that. Rad roach simulacra suggests that there's another of those pharaohs coming. Sunmoth we agreed is a fire enemy. I resist fire at least to 1 pip, so that's good. Why don't you just come a little closer so I can claw you without stepping out? Thank you. Oh, it also halos you for easier targeting. That's a pain in the neck. I need an ally, please. Something to bolster my DPS when things do walk into my kill box. There's the slow guy again, the one I've been avoiding. So we're just gonna back up so that he can't see me as easily. If I get confused, I have clarity, so that shouldn't happen. And if somehow it does through clarity, I can always cure out of it, so it's okay. This is not a terrible time to heal wounds. You could argue I don't have to, and I don't have to, but I have 8. So it's worth spending 1 just to be a little more robust. Because otherwise, the situation might come up where I need to heal wounds and it takes away a precious turn. It was, in fact, a waste of a heal wounds. I could have gotten by without it. But I didn't know how much longer that grind was going to be, and I didn't want to get caught off guard. Okay, we survived our. Oh, Jesus, there's more of them. Okay. We so far have survived our hasty all in rush attempt to get inside the ice cave. It did give us enough loot to make it well worth it. It's our first, second, and third artifact ring of the game, and we are wearing. Wait, I thought they gave me 3. Yeah, and I'm wearing all 3 of them, which is fantastic. And it's finally starting to flesh out my resistances. It bolstered my will, my static will defense heavily. Okay, point of bragging. This tipping point means that if I was playing a more robust Knoll right now, I would actually be behind because I would want to wear more than 2 of these. I certainly couldn't stack this many intelligence rings. It just wouldn't make sense. So again, the virtues of being a octopus. Did you just hit me? Dang. It almost never happens. Whatever. Kill him. Yeah, you shouldn't, generally speaking, send your allies orbs of destruction at boulder beetles. They don't aim. This is a really bad situation because I'm slowed and he's berserked. I've lost the whole game because of stuff like this before. 30% odds of paralysis is good, but it wasn't good enough. I'm gonna blink. I think I'm gonna random teleport. I've cleared most of the floor, so most of the floor is a safe haven at this stage. There you go. I should say that rather than say I cleared most of the floor, I've cleared so many enemies that I have to have cleared whole swaths of areas that otherwise would have been dangerous. Forest is exactly what I want here to distract / control the space. Very good. Oh man, I got a minus movability. Did I just blink directly into range of the... I blinked 3 times, and each time that orb followed me perfectly. That's terrifying accuracy. That's like Luke shooting the bending 90 degrees photon torpedo Space Wizard's accuracy. Y'all don't get the Space Wizards reference, holler. I gotta share that. It's one of the most hilarious YouTube, or it's not YouTube, it predates YouTube. It's one of those like Dorkleys, I think, where the Death Star engineer explains how how ridiculous his job was and how well he did it, even though technically he left the exhaust port open. Okay, what kills a broodmother efficiently? 140 HP? Jesus, so nothing. Okay, confusion is probably your trick then. That way they can't cast. It's so hard to think of these large poisonous creatures being unable to handle poison, but that is the idea behind arachnid weakness. They can dish it, but boy, they cannot take it. They can dish it out, but they can't handle it. Strength -5 and +2. Useless to me. Alright, we're at 4. Apparently I turned off spellcasting for some reason. Oh, right, I had calculated that I didn't want it that badly. I do want the lion's share of the energy thrown at earth magic since it's actually going to grow faster. But not all of it. And now are we on the final floor? We are, and it's a doozy. Okay, let's start. The continuation. And that's an end. I get skittish easily, and I don't take a lot of risks when I'm winning. Or at least I try not to, and then I see. Honestly, one of my greatest weaknesses in terms of I can resist everything except temptation, and in terms of I make bad decisions as a pro player. One of my greatest weaknesses as a player is timed portals. Because the moment I know that there is one, I lose my mind. I don't know how long there's left. I boldly troll through exploration segments that I should be more cautious about. I usually live, uh, but I usually end up going through more consumables for sure than I should have because I'm in such a rush to get to the thing, and I've assigned such a high value when in reality it probably isn't as important. I very, very rare, like I've had times where I was shafted 2 or 3 floors, triggered a time portal, and rather than focus on getting back to safety, I thought, what if I can find the portal and go do it and then go back to safety? And damn near died from my hubris. So yeah, that's a thing that has happened to me. Since I'm clearly staying inside storm form, poison resistance is superfluous. So I'll take the pittance of extra reliability I can get. Hookers. All right, it looks like I have successfully established a beachhead here. Retreat in that direction, please. I would rather you be alive and the trees do the work, not the other way around. A big part of the value that I'm placing on on Summoned Forest right now is not the damage that it does, but rather the uh, obstructions to line of sight that it provides. Because that works in favor of my airstrikes, that works in favor of me being defense oriented, that works in favor of my summons that are happy to clog up the maze even more. Okay, I took a ton of damage. I need to figure out what just did that. Airstrike. Oh no, that's my thing. What did it do to me? Strikes the sun with heavily, throws energy at you. Whatever throws energy at you is, I do not like it. It's quite painful. Put it this way, 3 sun moths could kill me in 1 turn. Look how strong that one move is. Let's get back. I'd like you to retreat way off. Okay, something hit like a truck. I got hit by an orb of destruction from max range. That would hit like a truck. I'm gonna fear once to see if I can save on blink scrolls. And then make a run for it. Yep, that worked. That almost worked. Okay, that's about as far as I dare go. Let me try a random blink. It took me in the exact wrong direction, but I can do it again, so that's good. This is just getting worse and worse. There we go. Ow. The ice cave was good loot, definitely. But dying to an ice dragon or all of the enemies I aggroed running over there, that would not have been good at all. And that was completely avoidable if I hadn't been so tunnel visioned on I need to get to the ice cave right now. I need to do it even if I don't have control of the floor. I need to do it even if I'm not safe. I used 2 blink scrolls to get into that ice cave. I really don't know that that was the right. I clearly going to the ice cave had to happen, but I don't know that I needed to use 2 blink scrolls to accomplish it. I feel like I should have been able to get it for cheaper. Okay, so we got past that. This is exactly what I meant when I said having the forest is as much for controlling the terrain as it is for any kind of damage boost it's giving me. Whoa, 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 what? Just a flippity dippity? Okay, that's the wrong button. Am I dead in 1 turn? Probably not. I'm dead in 2 turns. Did not know I could take 20 damage from poison in 1 tick. That was kind of scary. Who the hell's idea was it to not wear poison resistance? That guy should get fired. I'm doing all this ring juggling and I'm not remembering what juggles I'm doing. Oh, but technically we were in storm form. Shut up. Just don't do that again. By the way, thanks to all those artifacts, I now have poly resist in storm form, so yeah. I'm very curious if storm form is better or worse for me than statue form as a defensive decision. I'm not as worried about it as an offensive decision just yet, because at the end of the day, as long as I'm playing correctly, I should be able to just play it safe. Alrighty, well, my time is running out, as much fun as this has been, so I'm going to finish this spider pit and then call it for now, and then maybe come back later if I can. Oh, you guys are just too much. Okay, this is probably why the level's been so hard. I've been decompressing the rune chamber and not known it until now. Stop berserking everything, for God's sake. So frustrating. You die to Berserk once and suddenly you start getting really nervous about it, but in this run, I think Berserk has cost me more blink scrolls than pretty much any other status effect has. This forest is good here, I think, yeah. Get my summon cloud going. Generally, anything that tries to fight me, it's the difference between this being their turf and being my turf. If there's a forest, it's my turf. Not, it's their turf. Even if the forest doesn't happen to be fighting at the time, it's still kind of my turf because it's plenty of loose, wiggly holes with plenty of stuff to hide behind. Yeah, I don't know how that. Oh, the dryad got out of the way instead of taking the bullet for me. Oh, you can't see him, so you're not going to do anything to him. So I have to be willing to fight him, and I'm not. At least not yet. Yeah, you're busy beating him up. That's fine. Alright. What else can I do to make this fight look better? I can soften him up first before we start fighting for real. Oh, that was enough. That was also enough. Good. I will candidly say that Spider Pit is a lot harder than I remember it being. So if that was the intent by the devs to up the difficulty of the game some, good job. I do not think that a Minotaur, if I had been playing a Minotaur through all this, I might have survived probably, but there's a very good chance I would have died. Or at least burned through a lot more consumables just to make it to this point. Well, Minotaurs get to Berserk and summon allies of Trog, so maybe not. I don't know, whatever. Oh my god, this just never ends. Please focus the brood mother. Thank you. Thank you. Focus the brood mother. You know what would be really nice here is some kind of AoE blast spell. I should have gone for Ozo's Refrigeration here. Instead of being stingy with my experience points and beelining for Shatter. Yeah. LRD in theory would work here, right? Like I should probably go LRD. All right, let's just claw you to death. You're asking for it. There you go. You're dead. Let's claw you to death. You're asking for it. Yeah, you're dead. Irradiate. You're dead. Slash slash slash. Irradiate again. You guys are dead. Why would you blink there? Of all the places to blink, why would you pick that one? Brood Mother, you down. Yeah, burned. Fifth time's the charm. I think we got it. At this stage, I think we got it. I don't know how much deeper it can go. Penetrated, cancellated, rune acquired, vengeance sated. I'm not going to be wearing a ring of strength anytime soon, so you can just forget about it. Out, 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 and out we go. We have successfully not died. Shatter is now showing signs of castability at 99%, which means that with a little help from wizardry, radiant, and that's earth magic just about to hit 10. Statue form needs to be memorized ASAP. We have enough amnesia scrolls to forget something. It really should be storm form, but I'm not going to unmemorize storm form because I want to do the side-by-side comparison. So we'll ditch shock instead. Daisy. So statue form is a 34 AC, 14 EV build with 60 intelligence, 34, 14, and 10 shield, of course. 34, 14, 10 shield, but God help my attack delay, right? Okay, 34, 14. Now, by way of comparison, 22, 28, 48 intelligence, 5 shields. So it's significantly more defensive, but it's also significantly less big. Also, the HP bonus, 178, very, very telling as well. Yeah. And with power increase, it'll go up, obviously. Power-wise, they're at parity right now. In fact, the statue form's a little bit stronger. How can it possibly be stronger? They have equal transmutation. Air is... Oh, it's a level 7 versus a level 6. That's why. So this spell has a much higher ceiling for power. And therefore, I have yet to hit the ceiling, I guess. What's available next? Ooh, I haven't done Elf yet? Ooh, let's do Elf. This is going to be a treat. I have so much power for Elf. Oh, you know what I don't have, though? I don't have an AoE spell. Yeah, close to an AoE spell is Forest, which is decent. Yeah, I've done nothing to make this more castable. It's still 69%, but the power is pathetic. 48. What all spells are available? Starburst. Starburst is super castable. It's a decent AoE spell. Got everything off you. It's kind of like Irradiate in that sense. 60-12 versus an Irradiate, which is, that's not what I was trying to do. 3D29, so less swingy. 72 versus 70-ish, yeah, it's about the same. What about Ober? Toxic Radiance, that would have been pretty sweet. I don't know, I'm gonna think of something. Yeah, that's it for now. I gotta go. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Once again, Octopodes, super fun to do. You've seen some examples if you've been watching the series about how I get Octopodes through the early game with relative consistency. Octopus air element is listed through the early game with relative consistency and through a variety of tougher to survive situations. Um, you've seen what they look like when they get off the ground. I once again point you in the direction of int 60. I have winning characters with 5 to 10 runes, 5 to 15 runes that don't get intelligence 60 before they leave the dungeon. And this one, with to be blunt, the only remarkable thing about it is this amulet and this ring are very good. I wouldn't expect both those in one game, and they're not contributing especially much. This was acquired, but you could just as easily have acquired this for virtually the same effect. And yeah, there you go. The int 60 kind of speaks for itself. Also, I have a hat slot. Oh, I got hat plus 3 int. That's good. My hat gives me resist corrosion? I thought I was carrying a corrosion ring. I was. Well, I don't need to duplicate what I already have, so let's ditch that before I end up losing it somewhere else. And this needs to stay in the game, but not in my on my person. Do I need will in my hat? I need it more than I need MP plus 9, so that can go, yeah. I would like to have MP plus 9, and I'm willing to ditch something for it. Am I? Not really. Not really. I guess poison resistance. Again, under the logic that I'm always going to be a statue or a link kitty. It was different when I was either octopus or storm kitty, but now that statue or storm kitty, it's more reasonable. And 50 MP is much better than 40 MP when you're casting 8 mana, 6, 7, 8 mana spells. Yeah, this is a good configuration. I think this should be good. Maybe I should pick up Summon Horrible Things instead of Forest, since I tend to use it in the context of just a whole lot of body blockers. 2 casts of Summon Horrible Things, and you have enough beefcakes to keep you safe for a while. I want to point out that I'm running level 7 conjurations, level 7 transmutations, and level 7, level 8 summons, and just deciding which configuration feels strongest, safest, and bestest. That should be so fundamentally not possible for a character who has no skill bonus to any of those, and yet it is trivial because I have so much magic bonus to everything because I have 8 slots. And the one downside of that you don't get to wear full gear is completely mitigated by using transmutations. Even if you just transmute into something that just has some modest AC plus 5 bonus attached to it, good enough. But you have the big 3, right? Dragon, statue, and Stormform. And again, that gives you an earth pathway, an air pathway, and a pure pathway. All 3 options. Right. Thank you all so much for watching. I had a blast, and so did you. Gale Guy, special shout out, and thanks so much for joining and for all your answers and help. It's been a real pleasure. Please feel free to follow my channel on YouTube, follow me on Twitch. I've been poking around the DCSS subreddit as well. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you guys